Welcome back to Stock Kong Invest and Analysis, where we look at the market and break down the opportunities.
A hypothetical or near-future scenario, set in early 2026, regarding Donald Trump's attempt to buy Greenland, linking it to Elon Musk's AI energy needs and broader geopolitical shifts. 0-100 hours, 10 days. 2026 has only been here for 10 days. Just 10 days. In these short 240 hours, Trump showed the world what efficiency is. 009 on January 8 in Venezuela, the U.S. military took action directly without any warning. Maduro was still speaking on TV, and a few hours later, the presidential palace in Caracas had a new owner. Oil, which is Venezuela's lifeblood, instantly changed hands. 022, shortly after in the Persian Gulf, two carrier strike groups pushed right up to Iran's nose. That sense of oppression, looking at the satellite images, made me feel suffocated. 030, then came today, January 18th. While everyone's eyes were still fixed on oil prices and the Middle East powder keg, Trump suddenly turned around and aimed his gun at the Arctic. He directly issued a tariff declaration of war against Denmark, Germany, France, and the UK, a string of NATO allies he usually calls brothers. The reason is simple enough to make people laugh. He wants to buy Greenland. If you don't sell, you get fined. 055, the most magical and ironic thing happened. Do you know what happened at the White House 2 days ago, on January 15th? Trump smilingly accepted a Nobel Peace Prize medal. This medal was originally awarded to Venezuelan opposition leader Machado in 2025 to honor his peaceful resistance. The result, after U.S. tanks drove into Caracas, he gave this medal symbolizing peace to the man who just used force to overthrow his country's government. 122, I heard the old man at the Nobel Committee was so angry he jumped up on the spot, issuing a statement saying this was against the rules, but Trump didn't care at all. According to inside sources, he turned around and placed that medal in the Oval Office, right next to his pile of glittering real estate sales trophies and golf trophies. 140, just imagine this scene. How ironic. On one side is a medal symbolizing peace, on the other is a tariff stick against allies. That these two things can appear on the same table at the same time already explains a lot. 154, it reminds me of a classic movie scene. A gentleman in a tuxedo plays an elegant violin with one hand while slapping someone with the other to negotiate. After the negotiation, he smiles and says, "Look how civilized I am." This isn't peace. This is extreme pressure wrapped in civilization. 212, connect these three things together. Do you understand? Striking Venezuela is for energy? Provoking Iran is for geopolitics? Blackmailing allies to grab Greenland is for his own future. This is absolutely not some isolated madness. This is a precise, cold-blooded stress test of the global order. 231, but today, I don't want to talk about Venezuela or Iran. Let's point the microscope at that desolate, inconspicuous, but potentially most fatal place, Greenland, a barren island with temperatures of -30 degrees year-round, with nothing but ice and rocks. Why is it worth the U.S. tearing up treaties and alliances? Why has Silicon Valley's world's richest man, Musk, recently been talking frequently about energy and heat dissipation as if he's possessed? 257. And why do I say this isn't a simple territorial expansion, but the ultimate merger in human history that binds sovereignty, resources, and AI computing power together? Next, I will smash this layer of ice to see the truth about why Washington and Silicon Valley are going crazy simultaneously. 313. First, let's throw the narrative that Trump is old and senile into the trash. If you think this is just an old man wanting to buy a piece of land, that's definitely just the surface layer. Trump is not the first person who wanted to buy Greenland. In fact, he is the fourth. The U.S. obsession with Greenland is an unfinished business spanning 160 years. 336. Let's list 3 failure points to let you feel this terrifying persistence. First time, 1867. The U.S. just bought Alaska and wanted to buy Greenland conveniently. Result? No money, so they endured. Second time, 1946. Just won World War II. Truman directly offered $100 million in gold to buy it. Result? Denmark rejected it, saying, "We don't sell dignity." Endured again. Third time, 2019. Trump himself tried. Was mocked by the whole world as absurd. He got so angry he canceled his visit. Still endured. 410, 3 failures spanning 160 years. But here comes the key point. This is the 4th time, in 2026. The nature of this has completely changed. How did the U.S. expand before? Louisiana, Alaska, that was buying. At least on the surface, it was signing a commercial contract. The Mexican-American War, that was robbing. But this time, Trump took out a brand new weapon. Implicated economic sanctions, collective punishment. 448, I won't send troops, nor talk feelings. I'll just use the rope of tariffs to strangle your neck, your big brother's neck, and your second sister's neck. I'll watch you struggle until you kneel down and say let's talk. This shows the US has completely taken off its traditional disguise. This is an unprecedented test in 2026. When traditional diplomatic means aren't fast enough, use economic means to find the bottom line of sovereign trading. This isn't diplomacy. This is the extreme application of commercial M&A thinking in geopolitics. 536, so what is this ice cube actually worth? Many say it's to deal with Russia or for rare earths. Yes, but that's just the surface. Arctic route. Global warming is melting the ice. The route from Shanghai to Hamburg, via the Arctic, saves 40% of the distance. Whoever controls Greenland collects the tolls. Rare earths. Greenland has Kvanefjeld, full of rare earths. The US fears being cut off by China. A few years ago, Greenland almost signed a mining agreement with a Chinese company, which was a nightmare for the Pentagon. 636, but if it were only for these, the US has other ways: pressure, color revolution. Why use such extreme tariff collective punishment that offends all of Europe? There must be a huge urgent, sci-fi reason forcing Trump to be ruthless. 708. I looked for answers until I saw the man who almost caused the Texas power grid to collapse, Elon Musk. Just last month, X released an inconspicuous financial data point regarding his latest Colossus 2 supercomputer cluster. Although its computing power is invincible, it hit a physics dead end. Cooling costs. 741. Data shows that to cool down this AI beast, the cooling system costs account for 35% of total operating costs. This is burning money to boil water? Musk's cluster consumes 1.5 GW of power, equivalent to the entire country of Iceland. The waste heat generated by Colossus 2 at full load is enough to boil an Olympic-sized swimming pool from 0 to 100 degrees every hour. 835. Now do you understand why the Texas grid couldn't hold up? And Musk plans to push it to 1.5 GW in April. Putting such a furnace in hot Texas is against physics. But look north to Greenland. Strategists see aircraft carriers, geologists see mines. But Musk sees the largest, most perfect, cheapest natural heat sink on Earth. 910, open the server room doors there, and the cooling cost is almost zero. Plus, there is abundant hydro and wind energy. This is a womb tailored for the next generation of Super AI. 930. Is it a coincidence? On January 12, the new U.S. Secretary of Defense visited Musk at Starbase. On January 18, the White House announced sanctions targeting Greenland. Just 6 days apart. When the interests of the defense secretary, tech giants, and the president intersect so highly, it's rarely a coincidence. Musk needs glaciers to cool his empire? The Pentagon needs AI technology for hegemony. Trump needs a geopolitical victory? This is a century merger of technology, geopolitics, and capital. 1104, the method Trump is using is not checks or negotiation, but a collective gallows. Look at the sanctions list. Denmark, Sweden, Norway, understandable, but also Germany, France, UK, Netherlands. Why them? This is kidnapping the big brother to force the little brother. It's like a mob boss kidnapping your brother and burning your sister's shop to force you to sell your house. 1245, if the US only sanctioned Denmark, Denmark could hide behind the EU. But now, German car companies and French luxury brands are bleeding billions. Macron might be yelling at the Danish Prime Minister right now to give in. Trump wants to turn Denmark into the god of plague in Europe, making them succumb to the pressure of their peers. 1351, this is hooligan logic within the rules. No shots fired, but the economy collapses. But there are other conspiracies? Military-industrial complex. The buy might be a bluff or a lease takeover. The US might force a defense agreement where Denmark keeps nominal sovereignty, but hands over diplomatic and defense rights, allowing the US to deploy missiles. Resource control. The US government is now investing directly in mining, e.g., Lithium Americas. They want to secure Greenland's rare earths to prevent others from having them. Politicians double game. Denmark might eventually sell out under the guise of transatlantic unity or security partnership, selling out Greenlanders while claiming to save face. 1717, what is the scary signal? If your fist is hard enough, and your market big enough, you can claim others' territory. Today Greenland, tomorrow the Panama Canal. The Arctic route in Canada? Are forcing Taiwan's TSMC to move entirely to Arizona under threat of sanctions? Today's Greenland is tomorrow's TSMC. The logic is the same. I have the market and army. I take what I want. 1827 update. 3 breaking news items are rewriting the rules. Denmark sent troops to Greenland. A rare physical defense move between NATO allies, signaling a breakdown of trust. EU suspended trade agreement with US? A huge crack in the transatlantic system? Inflation is coming? Macron's declaration. He equated Greenland with Ukraine, elevating the dispute to a matter of principle and defending the post-World War II order. Sovereignty is inviolable. 2016, Trump's response from an interview. If we don't take Greenland, Russia or China will. We don't want them as neighbors. Macron talks legal principles, Trump talks security realism. It's a well-intentioned takeover for security purposes, which is harder to refuse morally. 2255, the essence is a duel between two future rules. Macron's legal world, UN Charter, borders, dignity, post-World War II. Trump Musk's power world. Whoever controls resources, compute, energy, military, defines rules. If Trump wins, we might see the birth of a corporate sovereign entity. A future Greenland ruled by a CEO, governed by user agreements, housing the world's global brain. AI clusters. Sovereignty serves computing power? 2420, advice for ordinary people. Reject single reliance, embrace hard assets? Cash will melt like ice during trade wars and currency fluctuations. Hold hard assets? Real estate, gold, crypto. Don't become data fuel? Learn to use AI. Don't just be used by it. Protect privacy. Independent thinking. Don't be fooled by grand narratives of sovereignty or security. Look at who is taking the money. 26 hours and 39 minutes. This island purchase drama is a warning bell. Rules are made by the strong. When interests are big enough, power runs ahead of law. The only things you can rely on are a clear mind and the assets in your pocket.
Hey viewers, don't forget to like, subscribe, and add our channel to your favorites. We will continue to provide you with more insightful stock analysis.